Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. This week, we are going to be talking about a subject that is not talked about very often in the Pilates industry until you have been in the industry for a while. And then it's almost like a shock or a surprise. And so the thing that I'd like to discuss with you today is burnout. So whether you're a new Pilates teacher or a seasoned Pilates instructor, one thing that you really want to watch out for is burnout. You never really think that burnout is going to happen to you because you love teaching Pilates so much and you really care about your clients, and you can't imagine ever being sick of helping others find peace and healing and strengthen their bodies. And yet, I've seen it time and time again with so many heart-centered Pilates instructors over the years. In fact, the reason why I can see it is because I've been there myself. So it was about 10 years ago that I was really dealing with major burnout. I was tired. I had no desire. I was pushing really hard. There was a lot going on that just made me feel like, why am I doing this? Why am I pushing so hard? Why am I working so hard? What am I getting out of this? I really felt stuck in that rinse and repeat lifestyle of teaching in the studio. But I knew that I loved it and it was my passion, but I just didn't really know where to go with this feeling that I had. I didn't recognize it as burnout at the time. I was spending hours and hours and hours, both at home and in the studio, programming and caring for my clients. Now, I only taught while I was in the studio, but my brain didn't stop thinking about my clients and what they needed and how I could help provide for them when I was at home. Now, for me at the time, I was also caring for 3 kids that I had at home. I had kids of all different ages. 10 years ago, I had a toddler, an elementary school student, and a high schooler. And so as you can imagine, all 3 of those kids had very different needs. Now, I'm also married, and so my husband and I co-share a lot of these responsibilities, but it doesn't mean that that wasn't pulling at me. So I had both my career and my home life pulling at me, and I hit complete and utter exhaustion. And I finally woke up and realized I need to do something about this, but I didn't really know what to do. So I started asking around, and I started asking other Pilates teachers who'd been in the industry for a while, because I thought, they've got to know what this is like. They've got to know how to get through this. But unfortunately, the answer that kept coming back to me was, go back to your mat. Go back to your mat. Get back into your mat work. It's going to make you feel better, and that's going to pull you out of this funk that you're in. And I'd like to say that was it, and that pulled me out of burnout, but it didn't. And I was disappointed. I thought, well, these are my mentors. These are people I look up to, and they're telling me this is the solution, but it's not helping. I will say it made me feel better in some respects, but it didn't pull me out of the whole burnout aspect. So it wasn't really terrible advice, but it just didn't really help with the whole solution. So I spent a lot of years figuring out, what was this feeling? And once I finally happened upon the term burnout, I realized, aha, that's what this is. This is burnout. So now that I had a name for this feeling, then I started to try to figure out, what are the signs to look for? What is burnout? How did this affect me? It's not always very intuitive what burnout is, or that you're actually there. Like I said, it took me a long time to even realize that was the name for what I was feeling. And what happens with burnout is, when you're so busy caring for so many other people, it feels wrong to put your own needs first, right? It feels like you're supposed to give and give and give and never have to take. I mean, you know that you need the basics in life, food and shower and take care of yourself and those basic needs. But the act of taking back actually feels really, really selfish. And society says that being selfish is wrong. But there's actually a phrase that's coined for this. So it's not just a name, but there's a name, a phrase for this, and it's called human giver syndrome. And I only happened upon this phrase even most recently, and it was really enlightening to have that name. So I wanted to share that with you. Human giver syndrome. It says a lot just in the name, doesn't it? So this is what happens when you teach from a place of burnout. You're often more irritated, frustrated, resentful. There were times that I was resentful of my clients that they were getting a workout that day, and I knew it was going to be 4 more days before I had time in my schedule to get in a full workout like they did. So if you've ever felt that way, watch out. That might be a sign of burnout. You also might have apathy or a lack of passion. So not that you lack caring about your clients, but there's just only so much you can give, right? And at a certain point, that you're just kind of tapped out from that over caring that you used to have. Or you might have a lack of passion for making sure that everything is fabulous for your clients. You're like, I'm just going to get them a basic workout and they're going to be happy today. I mean, if you're hitting that mode, that might be a sign of burnout. And you might even have stress, lots of stress, or even just a little stress, tension while you're teaching or in your life. You might feel pressure to be perfect or to be better or to always have to know certain things. Or on the flip side, you might feel really disconnected from your students, disconnected from the studio, or disconnected from your teaching. So all of these are signs of burnout if you feel that in your teaching. So if that's what's happening for you right now, or if you start to notice those signs, if you've never felt that, know that it happens, because as Pilates teachers, we are givers, right? So we have to be careful of that human giver syndrome. So I want to leave you today with one action step that you can take if you are on this path, or if you find yourself falling onto this path. So it's an action step that really only you can answer. So ask yourself, what is one small thing that you can do for yourself today? It doesn't have to take very long. Even just a couple of minutes is very sufficient for taking care of you. All you need is one small thing. It can be a couple of minutes. It could be an hour or a couple of hours, but it doesn't have to be. It really only needs to be a couple of minutes. So a couple of ideas for you are maybe going for a walk if you have a little bit of time. If you have less time, maybe turn on your favorite song, lock yourself in the bathroom, shut the door, and dance to your favorite song. Like nobody is watching, you're in the middle of a club. How does it feel in your body just to dance it out, right? That's one small thing you can do for you. The length of one song, what is that? Between 3.5 and 5 minutes. You could do that for yourself today. Maybe you reach out and text a friend that you've been thinking about, and you just text them one simple line that says, I'm thinking of you. You've done something for yourself because you're reaching out to a friend who you've been thinking about, and they also get that sense in reciprocation, and they feel the love from you. And it might start a couple minute texting conversation with your friend. Hey, how are you? How's it going? And then you get that sense of connection, which is also very healing for you. Yes, it's for them, but it's for you too to make that connection. Or one other idea is maybe you just follow a 5-minute guided meditation. So there are so many different things that you can do that don't have to be taking a long bubble bath or scheduling a massage. Like if you wait to do those things for yourself, it's not doing something for yourself today. So I really encourage you to think of what small thing you can do for yourself today So that way you're doing something to take care of you too, right? So one thing that I've really been into lately is gua sha. And if you've never heard of it, it's a type of facial massage with a stone. So it's kind of messy for me. I like to use an oil on my face so that the stone kind of glides on my face better. Some people use like little spritzer waters or things like that, but I like to use oil, and I find it kind of gets messy when I just do it over the sink, and it makes me feel like I don't want to do it. So one thing that I've been doing lately is I've just been doing gua sha in the shower. So I don't care if it drips down my body because I'm going to wash the rest of my body later, and it doesn't have to get all over my sink, and I don't have to splash water on the floor by accident. And I've been doing this in the shower every day for the last 2 weeks, and it actually makes me kind of excited to get in the shower. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go take a shower and do my gua sha. You know, it's not just rinsing and taking care of my body. I'm actually doing something a little extra special for myself that just feels really good, and I love it. So when you find those things, and it doesn't have to be the same thing every day, but after you do this one thing for yourself, remind yourself that you wouldn't deprive your clients or your family or your friends from doing something so nourishing for themselves, right? You would encourage them to do that. And so you shouldn't deprive yourself of these needs either. So once you do this one thing today, then tomorrow you ask yourself again, what is one small thing that I can do for me today? And then day after day after day, those minutes start to add up. And this is just one of many ways that you can pull yourself out of burnout. There are actually several different factors that cause burnout and even more ways to pull yourself out. And that's exactly why I include this framework in my program, Class Design Superstar, so that instructors have the tools to know when they've stepped onto the path of burnout. They can recognize it and make shifts to their lives to bring themselves back off of it before you get to the point where I was at, pure and utter exhaustion. I don't want that for you. I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. So that's why I'm here sharing this with you today. Having a full spectrum understanding of what it means to be a Pilates instructor, all the way from programming to connecting with your clients to having boundaries in your business. All of this is what gives you what you need to have a thriving career for decades to come. And since Pilates is a giving industry, when you don't have a system in place to protect yourself and your energy, unfortunately, burnout is the wicked result. Thank you for tuning in today. Make sure to like and subscribe if today's video was helpful. And if you'd like to learn even more ways to level up your cueing, programming, and client connection skills, check out my online program for Pilates instructors, Class Design Superstar, with the link below. See you next time.